Oh, it's done. I didn't realize. It says start streaming or start recording, and then it changes to stop. And most of those letters are the same. Well, not most, but like a good chunk of those letters are the same. And
Are we recording?
yeah, we are.
Oh, you didn't give me the number of the episode, so I didn't know if you were just telling me that it failed the recorder.
PKN
Man, banging out of the gate.
263. And after I press it, the change that it's pressed is very subtle, and it took me a second to notice it. Anyway, yeah, so we were just talking. Kevin Hart was the thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know this was a story. Did this happen like today?
No, I'll call it 2 days ago. And as we say this, so call it like September 1st, maybe something like that. He had just bought a classic car, a Barracuda, which is like a 1970s muscle car. And he tweeted it out. It's pretty badass. I'll give you a link and I will share it with the people and talk about it because I think a lot of people listen to this. That's what it looks like for those of you who have the video. But it's blue, Ooh. It's shiny, it's beautiful. It's a 1970s muscle car. If you have no idea, picture a blue Dukes of Hazzard looking car. It's not the same one.
Damn, that got fucked up.
Yes.
What a and it's also funny. Look how like he's barely taller than a sedan.
That's so bad. Poor guy.
His height won't change if he has to make the move to a wheelchair. He's already used to it, man.
I tried to look into what his injuries are, but they seem to be keeping it a little under wraps. All I found was it was major back injury. That was the quote I keep seeing used again and again, major back injury. And he had surgery on it super recently. It might have been this morning. And they think I said the surgery went well. They also made it clear nobody was under the influence of alcohol. I think there were 3 people in the car. He was not driving. He was in the passenger seat. His buddy was driving, and there's no alcohol involved. So, like,
as if that lends him any solace, laying in his bed, like, but at least we were safe. You know? Crippled. Hopefully, he's not.
It's not my fault. Yeah. So there was a woman who didn't require any hospital treatment. His buddy had some injuries, and Kevin Hart got the worst of it in the passenger seat for some reason. And he had major back injuries, and he's in the hospital after a back surgery right now. So,
wow,
that sucks.
Yeah, I'm looking around as you're describing it, and you're spot on. Like, everywhere that's saying that he's paralyzed is saying it's not confirmed, which, good. I hope he's not paralyzed. That would be really sad.
Agreed.
But isn't it? It might be fucked up, but isn't it sadder to you when someone becomes paralyzed in life than if they're born paralyzed? Because it's still sad, but it's like you didn't ever know how cool legs were.
I'll take it a step further. When an athlete has an injury, it's sadder to me than when a regular person has an injury, right? Like if you're a runner and then suddenly you lose your leg from the knee down, it's like, oh, that sucks. But if it happens to like a mom who, barely gardened, was she even using that part of her leg? Not a lot. Not like this runner. This guy over here had plans of climbing Mount Everest, and that lazy fuck just used her leg a little. So,
I'm on board with you
there. If a pianist loses a hand, it's a bigger tragedy than a regular person.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
but I like it more where I'm the version that's saddest, like just an unexceptional person who they lost their legs, But yeah, like a blind since birth to me seems like it'd be way easier to do that than it would be to go blind in the middle of your life. Because it seems like every time you ask anyone, like, hey, if you have to lose one, or you can only keep one of your senses or whatever, what's it going to be? It's always sight. Always. Getting rid of taste wouldn't even be that bad because you just get fit as fuck.
There could be advanced. Yeah, taste is not. I've heard there's more than 5 senses.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of sub-senses and things, but I don't know what those are called, and so we're gonna stick with 5.
Okay.
But like eyes, like if I were to go blind like right now, I'd just be fucked. Like think about trying to make yourself out to your if I didn't have my phone right here, Actually, no, I would have forgotten that I put my phone right there, and so it would have been. It's just
He's
gone.
blind and retarded. This is a tragedy.
This is a twofer. Yeah,
He doesn't even know how to put his palms on the desk. It's ruined.
He's not even searching. You know, just let him starve.
Sense of touch, though, like that might be more valuable than we're giving it credit for. What if that's an extension of all your mobility? You know, like we're not talking about just feeling pain and heat. Like without touch, everything's bad. Can you drive without touching? Can you shoot?
I don't think so.
Can you talk? My wife gets dental work done and has a lisp. What if she really lost her whole sense of touch?
I never considered the talking part. You're it's just like they just got from the dentist.
That might be the most important one.
You hear about people. This is either a real thing or I read a story about it and now I'm thinking that it's real. But people who don't have like a functional, whatever part of the brain is responsible for touch and pressure, to where like they won't get, one thing is that they won't get sensations about when they have to go to the bathroom. So they have to like go to the bathroom on a regimented schedule.
I really like that. Well, not
That's
that I love the sensation,
part,
but it's one of the most useful ones.
That would be terrible. Like now you get like a 30-minute gurgle warning. For your pooping. But imagine if you're just sitting there in your car driving and then you just start to smell shit and you're like, oh no.
What if you adapted though, right? Like you can still smell, right? So what if it's like a particularly rancid fart and you're like, that's my dump alarm, guys. We gotta head off. Do you smell that, honey?
God, I fucking hate hanging out with Taylor now.
Taylor, I don't know how to tell you this, but your dump alarm went off and we need to pull into Denny's.
Yeah, go in there and just destroy it. Yeah, that would suck. And then like you know, like if you step into a shower that's way too hot, immediately you're like, ooh. Or if you like a cold sensation or something sharp, you accidentally put your elbow up against, like you would just inadvertently put too much pressure leaning on that elbow. You didn't realize there was a jagged metal thing on the chair you were sitting in, and now you got a deep gash.
Did you know I lived like that for a while? I mentioned it here and there in the show, but I had
a nerve, right?
Yeah, so here's the scar. You can barely see it, but anyway, my ulnar nerve was damaged, and there was a time like I burnt. This part of my hand had no feeling, and these parts of my fingers had no mobility. What I'm getting to is I burnt it. And I noticed by smelling the burning flesh on my hand, I discovered more than once, twice. I discovered a thumbtack in it, like just visually, like who left that in there? You know?
Where were you hanging out that there were just thumbtacks face up?
My house in Ocean City. I guess I don't know. Maybe my mom's crafty or something. But yeah, so and then over time the feeling came back to like a 2 out of 10. Like it's not very good.
Yeah, but you can tell if you don't have to rely on the scent of burning flesh anymore.
No, I'd probably notice that. I remember, so when they measure your ability to feel things, this is how they do it. They have a bunch of sticks with like fishing line sort of poking through it. And the fishing line is different diameters. So they touch you with one and it bends very easily and it can only really tickle your skin. You would feel it, but even the smallest amount, maybe there's parts of your body
where
just
like a thin plastic hair kind of thing.
Right? Okay. And you would definitely feel it on your palm, but if I put it on maybe your shin bone or something, you're just not that sensitive there. Your deltoid, places where tattoos don't hurt.
Yeah.
And then it gets thicker and thicker until eventually it's, like it's strong. It'll poke you or and they were touching my hand. They had me close my eyes and they were touching my hand with different parts of it to see where my feeling was. But they didn't tell me that they stopped. And like, I swear it was like 30 years ago and it still hurts my feelings. And I'm trying to feel it and I'm focused and I'm concentrated and everyone else has moved on to another topic, but my eyes are closed. So I have no idea. And then I was like, I think I feel it. Is that now? And I open my eyes and they've all they're doing something else. And it's like, you assholes. Like I was trying really hard and I don't know if I felt something or if it was a phantom something that happens with nerve loss. But yeah, they're just assholes.
Those goddamn doctors. I get something similar when I go to the eye doctor. because
It was my
like
mom, by the way, not just
my
doctors. Carry on.
oh, your mom wasn't even helping you out. He'll figure it out. He knows what a stiletto feels like.
Yeah, right. Can you feel
Take it straight to that. Yeah. Like I can tell my and as you were starting that story, I was like tossing around the idea in my head of being like, the ulnar nerve. But the other Taylor in my head was like, don't risk it. Don't like you're probably wrong. Don't say
It is
that.
the ulnar nerve.
I know. And then you said it, and I was like, fuck,
okay.
you should have rolled the dice. You know,
Yeah.
saying that.
No, that happens with people's names. Like, I'm 30% sure her name is Jessica. Should I call her that? You know, or should I ask her name? And it's like, I could have gone with it. Damn it.
It's those little victories that you see right through your fingers just running away. But my eye doctor will do something like what you described, where like I feel like eye doctors see so many people with eyes even worse than mine and as bad as mine every day that like they almost try and give you passive help on the reading thing.
Okay.
But the annoying thing, or like it'll be the top layer, and he'll like put it on my old prescription. I'll be like, I gotta be honest with you, I think there's an M up there, but other than that, I'm not getting much. And he's like, okay, good start. No reason to be worried. And it's just like, okay. Oh, cool. And then you like see that thing that he puts in front of your eyes just getting thicker and thicker and thicker with glass pieces. Yeah. And but the thing they do that I hate is, you probably don't know because you have great eyes.
They're not great, but I've never been told there's no reason to be worried.
Yeah, I know. So like I'll be in there, and what they do initially, usually when I go in to get like my cornea and everything scanned, is I go in, they say, do you have contacts in? And it's like, you've seen my prescription and I drove here. I would hope I have them in, or there'd be dead people littered on the highway behind me. So yeah, of course. It's like, all right, take those out, throw them away. We'll get you a test pair afterward. And then I don't know what the fuck the doctor does, but they always have me take out my contacts, and then we'll either dilate then, and then I guess just leave for 10 minutes and let the dilating work.
Okay.
And if I'm regular blind without my glasses, I'm terrifyingly blind while I'm dilated because everything's just bright and colors are streaming together, and I've got astigmatism. And so like, you know, where you'll see photos in like of a stop sign or stoplight rather at night, and the lens will kind of have the green light here, and then there's two like streaks of green coming off of it. That's what my eyes do. I have one eye with astigmatism. They didn't figure out I had astigmatism until I was 17 or 18. And so like, or no, I was in my 20s, my early 20s. And I thought that everybody just saw light that way. That like when you were driving at night, yeah, of course there's streaky lights all over the place. That's just reality.
Yeah, that's what lights are like. They're kind of shooting stars, right?
Yeah, they're like shooting stars. And if you drive too late at night, it gets stressful because they're overwhelming. And then my doctor at the time was like, you know, you have pretty severe astigmatism in your left eye. And I'm like, I didn't know. I don't know what that means. And he's like, do you see light like this? And I'm like, yeah. But is that bad? He's like, yeah, well, we can fix that right up. And light at night now is a dream compared to that. But they'll abandon me in the little observation area for like 10, 15 minutes. And then when they walk back in, or the nurse does, they always have like a little quip of like, oh, you know, don't want to turn the TV on, or don't want to, you know, look at your phone or anything. Because I just sit there like a mannequin, just a doll, because I can't look at anything. I can't focus. If I was trying to use my phone, even like this wouldn't be enough. Like it's terrible.
Yeah, I last time I had my eyes dilated, they so I can't see anything, and they send me to drive home. And I get to the car, and it's like, I don't know why everyone seems okay with this. Yeah. Like, I think I'd be better with 4 beers. So I had this idea that I'll just sit in I'll just sit in the car and read my phone and let time pass. And it's like, why did I think this was a good idea? At what distance can I, like, no distance, and radio maybe?
You're like, too far away, but too bright.
My eyesight is deteriorating. And sometimes I'm legit not sure. Has the world just gotten dimmer, or do I require more light than I used to? You know, like, because it's usually
the second one.
It's usually a little dim. You know, like the lights are dimmed. A lot of the rooms in this house, we have the lights on dimmers, and they're not up all the way. Or I'm in the garage, which isn't so well lit. Well, now it is, but it wasn't. Or like you said, maybe I just can't see.
Do you know what your numbers are for your eyes?
not
Because
with
you
confidence.
like right now you're not wearing anything, are you?
I'm not. Yeah. Most of the time I don't wear anything. If I have any like work to do, work being like I don't know, writing a bunch of checks or adding some things up, then I'll put my glasses on. So I think I might throw them on more often because I read a little better. Every so often for the show, it's like, all right, buckle up. This is a 2-minute read thing, you know, like an Am I the Asshole? And I do a little better with glasses on. So maybe I should do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing you'll have things like zombie apocalypse survival scenarios. For me, it's like if it happened right now, I lost my glasses and I haven't gotten new ones yet. And so I would last for 4 months worth of contacts, and I could stretch that to 8 months before my eyes start getting infected. And then I'm done. Like it's like just not useful anymore after that.
Yeah,
I need my glasses.
Well, I'm joining you, it seems. It just year by year, a little closer, a little closer.
It's fun. Like I got the advanced lesson on the eye thing early on, but I'm not looking forward to what you're describing as like the body falling apart, where it's like, man, I still get into the squat motion like I'm 22, but then I push up and I realize I'm not 22 and this is taking a toll on my body. Like I'm not looking. That's what I dread the most about aging, are like those little injuries where I think Louis C.K. had a bit about it where he's like, you know, what do I do about my foot, doc? Doc's like, oh, take 3 Advil a day. He's like, okay, and when will that fix it? He's like, no, this is just who you are now.
My observation hasn't been like permanent injury, like Louis C.K.'s bit. It's slow healing. That's the thing, you know. And in terms of injury, it's just slow healing. Everyone understands that. In terms of working out, I see these YouTube videos. They're like, are you pushing to failure? What you think is failure is not actual failure. You know, you need to take yourself to where you can't do another one. And that's set 1. Do 5 of those. And I'm like, dude, if I did that, I'd work. It takes 6 days to come back from that. That's a lot. Yeah. Like, that's rough. I don't think that's a good game plan for a 46-year-old.
It's not. Like, I do until failure for some things, but it's stuff like farmer's walks, where if I'm really that exhausted, I'll drop them. And that's the end of that. And they'll fall to my sides and I'll be fine. They won't even hit my feet. If you tell people, like I was reading I need to find the fitness guy so I can send it to you. But somebody who's like, he was saying how people who say bench until failure, he was saying that's a fucking terrible idea. Because all you're going to do is get to I don't remember. Okay. I'll have to look it up. It wasn't a YouTuber. It was like a blogger, a fitness blogger. Maybe it was on bodybuilding.com. But he was saying like what this means for most people is they get to like 85% of their output and then they want to go until failure. And so they just throw all form to the wind and it becomes now you're throwing your back weird. Now you're trying to squat and you're ending up arching your back, or you're deadlifting and you're pulling incorrectly. And like people get injuries because they try to go to failure on those compound lifts when like if you're trying to do overhead press until failure, you're going to end up doing that thing where you like lean back and like twist your back, just trying to finagle it up. And I don't know, like I'm very easily convinced by these ripped guys. Like this other guy,
their body's their resume. How can you disagree? Look, that guy's got better abs than me. Clearly I should do what he did.
The way I think about it is like I'll look at that guy's picture and it's like if he came up to me while I was working out in my basement and was like, hey, bro, you shouldn't go until failure. What am I going to say? He wins the matchup. Like,
right?
If anybody comes in that room and is like, all right, I'm trying to get fitness advice, definitely not you in the red shirt. This guy with somehow 14 abdominals.
Yeah, and no shirt at all. He's the one.
No shirt at all.
He's the guy.
It's because he's not embarrassed by his diet. Yeah.
So, oh no, this is related to working out, I swear. You are now talking to what I think is the world's most popular World War Z streamer. You know,
I saw on the subreddit, they're like, what are you streaming? Hell yeah.
If you want to be on top of your field, choose a very small field. And someone came up with this idea that I should do push-ups for failure. And I think I might stream again tonight. But we have this rule set, and it might be more push-ups than I'm capable of. We'll see how this goes down. But
Till failure, like every time you die in the game, you have to do push-ups.
well, I don't.
Or
I'm sorry. It would be in-game failure. So the way it works is if a teammate goes down, you can pick them up. That's 2 push-ups. If I go down, it's 5,
Ah.
and if the mission fails, it's 10. So if we all go down, that's 21. The quick math. If we all go down in this shit show where they like come up and down, like I rescue that guy, but not the third guy, then I go down or I get picked up. Like in one of the games, I had to do 30 or 31 push-ups, and if that happens a couple of times, I'm pretty fucked. So we'll see. It might be fun. I might make an ass out of myself, but it is what it is.
I'm glad you jumped on. I didn't even know you had a Twitch channel. I should have known because I've never watched a Twitch stream.
We've
ever.
live streamed PKA on Twitch with you. And
I thought that was Justin TV.
That
oh no,
way
this
back
was
when.
Twitch. This was
Yeah.
Twitch. Okay, yeah. Justin TV became Twitch or something.
We
like,
might have
doesn't
actually
fucking
done Ice Poseidon on YouTube, but we did do one on Twitch too.
Yeah, we did him on YouTube because he'd already been kicked off Twitch.
Yeah,
by
we don't
that
mess with
point.
it. But I think maybe Tucker was on Twitch. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had 102,000 followers on
Do
Twitch.
I didn't even know.
How
that.
does Twitch work? Is a follower and a subscriber the same thing?
No.
What is that?
Well, okay, so I'm really out of my depth here, but I think so. A subscriber used to mean someone paid $5 a month, and it got split between Twitch and YouTube. That was a sub. But now that Amazon bought Twitch, I'm really out of my. I don't know, but it appears that everyone who has Prime, which is everyone, has like a free sub. So they can just like choose which streamer is the benefactor of their sub. And I don't even know what the streamer earns for that. Apparently people were subbing to me. I don't know how many. And I wasn't thanking them. And Chiz said that was below the minimal acceptable standards for politeness on Twitch. that I was quite the asshole unknowingly. Like people were subbing and I'm making no mention of it. So I guess.
I wouldn't have known either. I thought I would have assumed subscribe means the same thing on YouTube where it's like you click it and it's free and who cares. But I guess not. I guess followers are free.
Yes. Follow it. That would be more the parallel. And I don't even know how to subscribe to someone. I don't know what they're doing. But I'm trying to set it up better this time. Well, I don't know. I just wanted to
Did you have
stream.
a live cam on your face or just have the game?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Push-ups are no fun without live cams. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, guys, trust me. Ooh, I'm so tired.
Dude, I came back
That's
and
gonna be my
I
Twitch
can't
channel,
even
just
play
audio
well.
only workouts.
Like I'm ruined from the push-ups, and then I start the next game, and I suck. But
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a fun time with it, so I was only going to do it once. I really was, but I got positive feedback, and I guess that's addictive. So here I am thinking about doing. Shortly I'll have pink hair and whatever else Ninja does.
Pink hair and tits.
Oh,
get implants.
Yes. People
I
would.
should probably make a Twitch account. It seems like it'd be fun
You
to
literally
do.
don't have a Twitch account?
No.
Yeah, if you did, it wouldn't surprise me if you turned into a popular streamer.
I just got to figure out how video games on QWERTY work. Or not
Yeah.
QWERTY, on a WASD. See, I don't even know the
That's funny. Yeah, what makes a good streamer? So back in the day, people who weren't like me, I'm talking about. People didn't watch me for my gameplay, but I still did well on Twitch. Nowadays, it seems like the gameplay is more important than it used to be. Importance, whatever.
Yeah. I guess that's true. Like you were better at games than I was, but we were both more personality channels.
Right.
And Kyle was too.
Yes.
All three of us. None of us that great at gaming.
Yeah. Kyle might take offense to that, but
Oh, no, he plays a lot. He's pretty.
He does play.
Yeah,
a
he's
lot.
not going to hear this. He's in prison.
But he, compared to the top of the guys at the top of the game right now, Ninja and Shroud and such, I don't think Kyle is there.
I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it. You remember the South Park where they got PewDiePie to like guest spot on it?
No, I didn't even know of that.
Yeah, they did a South Park about like how quickly the online entertainment game is moving to where someone my age watched YouTube videos, like kind of the beginning of the transition from mainstream media to YouTube. And now in just like 6 years, if I talk to a 20-year-old or something, 8 years, whatever, they'll be all into Twitch, and I don't get it in the same way. And so like the joke in the show was, it was a bunch of kindergartners loving PewDiePie, and Cartman starts streaming, Cartman Bra, and doing his streaming thing, and then it's all the third graders being like, these kids don't even want to play the games, they just want to watch them do. And it's just like a funny, like how fast the trends are moving now, to where it's like 4 years difference in age feels like an eternity when it comes to what you're interested in. But I am going to give Twitch a go. I'm going to buy that PC that I said I've been wanting to buy as soon as I get a very smart. It was funny. Someone like a couple months ago DM'd me on Reddit and was like, "Hey, you mentioned getting a PC." And there was like 3 or 4 other guys who sent me helpful builds, but this one guy was like, "Hey, just kind of something like, if I were you, I would go with." And it was a $4,400 setup. And I was like, "Man, I appreciate it, but I'm gonna go with less than that, because that's fucking insane." He's like, and you can't even stream it higher than 1080, right? Isn't
I think
like,
you can,
because it doesn't process.
Actually, I think the limit is on the bandwidth. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It used to be 3,500 kbps or whatever the fuck it is, and but people were doing 1440. I want to say, but I'm not sure.
Huh.
I have to look again.
Can you can stream other stuff than video games on Twitch, right?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of video game categories, and then just chatting is a thing where people just hang out. Sometimes they have some sort of entertainment, like, hard to do it copyright free, but they'll maybe watch videos together or what have you. And then there's a music one too, which you don't have any musical talent, do you?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But if you did, that's a pretty neat area. Sometimes those guys blow up.
No, I could like. I'm just trying to think of the dumbest thing. Like, I could learn German on stream. Just Rosetta. Today we're playing Rosetta Stone German.
That's not the worst idea.
Actually, I could make jokes out of that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Today we're gonna stream tax cheats or tax tips, or whatever the hell. Yeah, I'm gonna make a Twitch account.
I was thinking about streaming for like a week. The idea had been sort of bouncing around in my head. And then I saw Hutch stream, and he just did it so chill. You know, my streams back in the Minecraft days, I would like sing along to songs, and it was a big show. And I don't know if I feel like doing all that. And then I saw Hutch, and he was just so relaxed. I was like, I'm going to try that. And
yeah,
that's sort of what made it happen. But yeah, streaming. So, well, we'll see.
I think I'd probably just behave the same way I do on the podcast on there. Like, just jokey and, well, not as much talking, because I wouldn't be able to focus on the video game and
so you'd be playing a game
talking.
So
I think so. That seems like I just say that because that's what most people seem to do, and that would get people engaged, and I would get better at video games because I get like people in chat. This is so funny. Me acting like the kind of listeners that I cultivate would be interested in giving me game tips. So just being like, do African voice. Yeah, that seems like the natural fit would be like going into live games and just talking in funny voices at people. Getting little reactions.
It'd be pretty neat. I'd be interested. I have a new topic.
Yeah, what's up?
Say goodbye to temporary fillings. Scientists have successfully used a gel to regrow tooth enamel.
That's incredible.
Right? So it looked really easy.
Can you link that?
Yeah.
This could have real life ramifications for my
dude, fillings could be gone. So researchers have mixed calcium and phosphate ions, 2 minerals found in enamel, into an alcohol solution with the organic compound trimethylene and applied it to damaged teeth. Over the course of 48 hours, the gel helped create a new layer of enamel about 3 micrometers thick, which I presume is a good amount of micrometers. And
it's more than 2.
It's more than 2. Yeah, all right. And I don't know. Somehow, I read this, and I was like, what? All they did is mix calcium and phosphate ions into an alcohol solution with the compound of trimethylene. Why didn't anyone else do this earlier? Like I was gonna, I was thinking of the same, but,
Yeah.
but I just look. I could pronounce like most of those words. Why was this hard? Why did it take so long to figure it out?
And it's like, I don't know. This is in China, so this might be real bad for your mouth.
That occurred to me too. I'm like, yeah, a little bit of lead, but don't tell the Americans.
Yeah, then just a touch of our secret sauce. That's lead. Yeah.
Not only
That's why
might it
people
be,
used to. Oh, go ahead.
not only might it be possible to use the gel for repair of decayed parts of a tooth, but it could be a preventive technique used to regenerate the protective enamel so that decay is never again a problem. So, like, some of you out there might. I think I have a scratch in the enamel on one of my molars. And they're like, yeah, we'll just watch this forever in case it turns into a cavity because it's a scratch and I guess it's vulnerable. And it seems fixable now.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, of course, all health is like you don't appreciate it until it's gone. But I feel like the lower level eye and tooth health is even more so. Where like you don't realize how much having teeth that work is great until you have teeth that don't work. And like that's why people will go crazy from tooth pain. It's like it's so close to your brain, you'll lose your mind. People will take
is that
like
related?
a hammer and
brain distance?
Yeah, there is something about that, like the neural distance for the impulse, and also just the fact that it's in gums, set in your jaw. And as far as it's funny now that we're so advanced that like we can critique evolution and be like, our hands evolved pretty great, our feet kind of have some problems, our teeth and jaws, shit tier, terrible, doesn't work at all.
I forget who it was. A YouTuber, probably a fitness guy. He was explaining how shoulders or elbows worked. And he's like, yeah, see, this is how your hip joint works. You see how this bone is fully like encapsulated in that?
Yeah.
That's a great joint. But your shoulder, things like sort of sitting on top. It's weak. Once this thing breaks, it just comes out repeatedly super easy. And I'm like, man, why do they make shoulders like hips?
They should, God damn it.
I complain to the manufacturer.
Make those better.
Is that mom or God? I'm not 100% sure.
Teeth could be better. Shoulders could be better.
I'm still stuck on the brain proximity thing. Because with teeth, I'm with you. Somehow teeth pain is some of the worst. But I think like sole of my foot is way more sensitive than my deltoid. Right?
Yeah, I need to find this. I'm probably being dumb.
Palm of my hands is one of the most sensitive spot. Dick and asshole.
Yeah.
Super painful. Right?
Nah, you're winning me over now.
Say no more, Woody.
It was the dick and asshole part that convinced me.
Yeah.
Brain proximity for why is tooth pain so bad? There we go.
What are you coming up with?
Okay. It says
number of nerves.
This is from Century Dental. It says teeth are solid and cannot swell, so an injury to the tooth can lead to the death of cells in the tooth and pulp area or an infection. Okay, so that doesn't help. You fucking shit to your site. Why are you buying ads? You're not even helping. Why do toothaches hurt so much? If you want me to trust you as a dentist, don't use all caps like an angry 68-year-old Republican on Facebook. It's like
suspiciously specific, but it worked for me.
I knew you'd get that. That is the funniest way when like old people use like way too many emojis and caps. And being in the business world, I see this constantly. Where you'll get lumped into a big group email that has nothing to do with me, where it's like, this has nothing. Why did you loop me in? It's like, Steve got a new puppy. And it's like a badly cropped copy paste photo into the body of the email. And then it's a bunch of people putting like 100 hearts and then all caps, wow, like that. And it's like, oh my God, sent from Susan, sent from my Samsung smart fridge.
You sending me a picture of your monitor? It was on your computer. That's how it was on your monitor. Why is there a picture of your monitor of showing a picture?
And just like being in your 20s in any kind of professional business setting, I feel like I'll be at a place for a meeting, a discussion that's totally unrelated. It has to do with retail, something I'm going to do on behalf of a client or whatever. And I will like be leaving. And because I'm the age I am, like a boomer woman will be like, before you go, I can't figure out how to get this screen dragged to my other monitor. How does that work? How do you do this? And I have this laptop hooked up to this bigger monitor, but see, when I close the laptop, it turns off up there too. But I need to close the laptop because we have a green initiative here. And it's like, oh my God, this is literally a problem I had to solve for a woman a couple weeks ago.
The pressure.
She was like, I need to have my laptop screen plugged into this big monitor, but I can't leave my laptop screen open. So I was like, oh, well, I'll do what you should be doing. Let me Google it.
Yeah, right.
All right. And it turned up. We're going to go to your system controls. We're going to do this and that. And by the end of it, I was like, there's no way this bitch is going to pump my tires to the people that I came here to talk to at all. So that is funny.
At Cisco, people who manage technical people were not that technical. So this played out so many times and I always enjoyed it. Like, all right. So here's my boss's boss going to present to us. There's 300 people watching. He's presenting, but not using his own computer. So he had to take the PowerPoint and put it on like a network drive. Now this poor fuck is being observed by 300 people. All of them technical. All of them know the answer to this. Yeah. Judging him on his ability to connect, to like map some network drive to find his PowerPoint on a stranger's computer. And it's like, all right, you fuck, let's see. You're my boss. You earn more money in 3 months than I do in a year. You better know how to map a network drive. And I just always enjoyed watching
all the
him
tech
suffer.
people are sitting there just like, just do this. Just do this. Yeah. I want to get a long lunch like I was promised.
I was not me. I just like,
you just enjoyed it.
Yes. Sadistically watching them suffer. And I know they know they're being judged. So I just judge. Just judge and let them.
Oh, there are like, it's funny watching like the generational gap, even in like the kind of stuff I'll do. Like I'll go on behalf of a client to like a retailer at like fucking Walgreens or CVS or whatever. And it depends on the retailer because all the buyers are different, but sometimes the buyer is like the guy who buys for the categories, the guy I'm presenting to. And sometimes it'll be like a 68, 69-year-old man and they are set in their ways. They have like absolute power to decide what goes in the produce section or what goes in the fucking cosmetic section or whatever. And so like you can prepare like a nice thing, get everything set up, and they'll get there and be like, no, we don't have HDMI. I don't know what that is. Do you have a hard printout? Do you just paper? You just have paper I could look at? And I always bring that now because it's just like, yeah, well, now we can't make eye contact while we're talking because you have to be looking down, and that makes sales a little more difficult. So there you go, you old faggot. Yeah, that's obnoxious.
Who was it? Someone in my employment along the way told me the platinum rule. Have you heard this before?
Not under that name. Maybe I'll know.
Maybe you know it already. But the golden rule, of course, is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there's a higher level. And it's do unto others as they would have done unto them. And it's like, hey, I might prefer text. That's my preferred communication method. But if yours is voicemail, then I leave you voicemails. If yours is paper, then I give you paper. And that's the platinum rule.
That's the good way to do it. Like, ideally, if you know.
It depends. So the way I implemented it is if you're above me, platinum. If you're below me, gold.
Yeah. Or even silver, or you know what, you're not getting any precious metals.
Yeah, it's like if you're above me, we communicated your favorite way. If you're below me, we communicated my favorite way.
How often did you have to sit in boring meetings?
Too much.
Often, or
Oh, yes. Yeah. I would guess that if I worked an 8-hour day, 3 of them might be meetings.
and were they mostly complete wastes of time that could have been settled
Exclusively
over
complete
email?
waste of time. Yeah.
That's so frustrating. I read one thing online. It's funny, we should talk about this kind of stuff because Kyle can't empathize with this as much, like the corporate life. But like I read something online in like a business journal of this guy who became CEO of a company after working his way up, and he was like, one of the first things I did in our conference rooms, I removed all chairs.
Oh, I think I've heard this.
Yeah. And so you want to have, we have a meeting slated from 11 to 3. I guess we're not standing all afternoon. Oh, wait. Now suddenly everybody's willing to wrap after 40 minutes and we've got it done. Okay. All right. Now we don't have to bring in lunch for everyone. Now you can all just do your own thing on your own time. Fucking go. That is great. I would love to do that.
As I became more senior, when you're junior and you attend meetings, you're hoping to be heard. When you're senior and you attend meetings, they're hoping to hear you. And as that morphed, I started being more of an asshole. Like, Woody, can you come to this? We need your opinion on whatever. I'm like, this meeting has no agenda. I don't have time for meetings with no agenda. Yeah, you block out what we'll be talking, and it'll also help me a lot. Like if there's an agenda, I would come to a meeting really prepared. If there was no agenda, then everything felt like a pop quiz, and I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
yeah, I agree with you there.
It's a bit of a almost character flaw in me. People happen in the paramotor world will say, "Hey, Woody, I've got a question. Do you have a minute?" No reply to that, asshole. I don't know what your question is. Why's it got to be a pop quiz? Why don't you ask me the question, and then when I see it, I'll get back to you with an answer.
Yeah. It's like a version of, can you do me a favor?
Oh.
Before you know what the fucking favor is.
Yes.
It could be, could you take the trash out? Or it could be, can you drive to my parents' house and do this in the yard for them because they can't lift up the rock that they don't want there anymore? And you could,
that's suspiciously specific, Taylor.
It is, yes.
But I'm like, but Taylor would be really good at picking up rocks, I think.
It's my calling.
You've been training for 3 years for this. You're all hulked out. You thought it was for Tinder, but now it's coming together.
Now it's all yard work related.
Yeah.
Now anything that's slightly big, my girlfriend, whoever's helping me, can just use I can't do it, you do it. It's like, when you could if you tried. You could give it the old college try. The meeting thing is so fucking true. And you're right about the junior senior thing, where I've noticed when I was green in and being brought in as a consultant or whatever, or a representative for some companies, I'd always want to even if I wasn't adding a ton, I'd want to say stuff so that they knew I was engaged. Now, with the clients that I'm comfortable with and have really good relationships with, it's if they invite me in for a meeting that goes an hour or two and there's no absolute necessary reason for me to talk, I will sit there in silence and not add anything, because anything I add, I'll think about it first and be like, is this prudent? Is this necessary? Or is this going to spin off into a 20-minute side conversation from someone else at this table? And it's no, I just say, almost you orate to me what you're thinking, and I'll compartmentalize and deal with it. I don't want to be here any longer.
A parallel here, in the tech world, it's easy to not know something, right? Everything's always changing. There's new techs coming out and such. And when I was junior, I would try to hide that because, I didn't want everyone to know what an imposter I was. That I actually don't know what the fuck I'm doing. When you guys aren't here, I just Google and try and get by. And then as I became more senior, it was if I don't know something, that's something's pretty obscure. I'm more comfortable in my own skin saying I need to get back to you on that. And then invariably the senior version of me that would get stumped was no wonder I didn't know that shit. It was popular for 3 months, 9 years ago. Just get the fuck out of here with that idea.
Yeah,
So,
that is funny. Like, and so often I've noticed in like someone will use, a what is an acronym or something, business meetings where it's like we're putting an SAM over on the TPS, and then we're gonna drive that right into the DAW, and it's like sometimes I've noticed like it is the most senior people who will just straight up be like, I don't know what you mean by this. What is this? And everybody else in the room, you can see a feeling of like, oh, good, because I was pretending that I knew what you were talking about.
yeah, I saw it phrased really well. I wish I could get it word for word right, but they're like, dumb people seek to confuse their audience, and smart people seek to enlighten them. And like junior me would be like, "Oh, we've got to populate this DB or whatever," and then senior me was like, "Yeah, we got to import the data," or just like I don't know, just make it a little like
Something simpler. Yeah.
look. Nobody was impressed with words they didn't know. That's not specifically right, but like at least in the tech world, no one was impressed with descriptions that only other comp sci guys understood. That doesn't mean you're extra smart. That means you're incapable of communicating with guys who aren't you.
And you probably had like managers coming in and like trying to articulate tech things, being like, why can't we just fix the internet tubes in this way so that it does that? Did you have that, or did they mostly like let the tech do tech and we do margins and everything?
Yeah, so sometimes I would consider it my job to make sure that my manager wasn't ill-informed. If he's going to present this way, I need to set him up for success. And early in my career, super early, I was probably still in school, maybe 21 or something. The guy was like, your job is to make your manager look good. That's your job. And I didn't accept it. I was like, no, my job is to look good. My job is to serve the company, this and that. Later on, I evolved to understanding what he was talking about. Set your manager up for success. He has his own mission from his boss, and he has it from his. And if you focus yourself on making your manager successful, well, shucks. That helps him. That helps you. That helps the company. You might think that you're helping the company by preventing your dumbass manager from doing the wrong thing. You're probably wrong. He probably has a level of visibility in this as to why he's doing it that you don't have from underneath him. So setting up your manager for success it's a win. And then it also sets you up for promotion.
For sure.
He will be inclined to give you the cool raise, right? I don't know if your group, everyone gets the same raise, but that's not how my groups worked. Some guys were getting 8% and some guys were getting 1%. You know which one you want to be.
Yeah.
So,
that's good advice. I mean, I'm sure it's different in what I do, obviously, from the tech world, but work to make your manager look good. Like, and it's funny that you're like, and I rejected that, because putting myself in my 21-year-old self, I would have done that too, where I would just be like, fuck you. If I do something good, I want all the credit. Give it to me. Give it to me. But like, then you kind of realize later, it's like, oh, wait, if my manager goes and is an idiot in front of people who are going to give us business or don't give us business, and it's because the tech isn't properly explained to him, it makes me look retarded. Shit. Because it just shit rolls downhill.
Yeah. Or in my case, I think I was much more internal than you are. You're customer facing. But like if my manager looks like an idiot to his boss, my group is not thriving. Let's make the group thrive. Let's make my boss should be really impressed with my manager in that chain. And so that turned out to be really good advice.
Yeah.
But
that is good advice.
But stupid ass 21-year-old Woody was like, "No, I was too pure for it.
I'm too cool for school.
Yeah.
I'm doing this and that." Everybody goes through that phase.
Oh.
And then, like, I think later than that, you start going through the phase that I'm in now, where it's like every day you realize that you're dumber than you thought you were. Where you'll learn something new every day, where it's like, wow, I really don't know anything about that, and that's a whole field of expertise that people have. Or oh man, I was so sure on this. Nope, fucking idiot. And I wonder how long that goes. That probably just goes the rest of life.
Heck if I know. But like I'm thinking, like, when I got into my 30s and such, it started to evolve into what I said before. It was like if I don't know it, that thing is probably some weird corner case that like
It probably does.
I've been doing this job for 20 years now, and I pretty much know this one. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
so. Yeah, we I was talking last night. I was going to stream last night, but I ended up going flying, and I hung out with my paramotor friends till midnight. And
Oh, nice. We're like, did you guys go to a bar or something? And
yeah, so
chill
flying
out?
wrapped up around 7:45, and then we got to dinner at 8 something, and it was a tavern. Do they have taverns everywhere? That's a dumb question.
Yeah, tavern. Those are neat. It's like kind of like a hole in the wall bar, and they got pretzels and stuff.
No,
Like,
better
that's what
food
I
than
think
that.
of.
Like I had
Oh.
sirloin, and there were some pool tables, and there was a bar there, and it was a biggish restaurant, but it's open late, which is why I mentioned it was a tavern. It was open till midnight,
Mhm.
whereas why most restaurants aren't. And we talked about a lot of work stuff, and it was pretty neat, and military stuff. And one of my friends was an infantry, like he jumped out of airplanes and fought wars, and
Oof.
he just interviewed at a company. I don't want to like dox him,
Yeah.
but it's a really it's a progressive tech company. And he goes, they're like, "What's your Unix shell login and your preferred pronoun?" And his manager was really nervous, like just almost scared of like being next to him. And he's thinking in his head, like, "Lady, calm down. I haven't killed anyone in almost 20 years now." It's like, whoa, fuck. Like, I killed a squirrel once, and that's kind of where I peaked. The chicken, Then poor Henrietta.
So funny they asked for preferred pronoun.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be the only one that if someone asked me that, I'd be insulted.
I was
be
trying to
like,
help him.
what?
I thought he had just been asked, and he wrote us all. So I'm like, shit, I need a good pronoun for this guy. It turned out Your Highness is like a possible greeting. And I'm like, go with that. Go with Your Highness. But he wasn't ballsy enough, which turned out to be good because like I thought it was a joke. But then during all these like employee introduction meetings, they were using like the pronouns. They'd be like, "All right, Taylor, thanks, Mister."
That is so fun. Oh, how would you resist?
Right?
Just being like, I make it confusing. I'm gender fluid, and so sometimes I go by he, him, and then sometimes I identify as a fairy tale giant, in which I go by fee, fi, fo, or fum.
Oh,
Depending on
there should just be a randomize it. Like
Yeah.
just randomize my pronouns. I like it.
and my Lord and Savior Taylor has to.
But he has a new gig now. I don't want to like. It's not my story to tell too much, but he applied for a job and they hired him for the job above it, and he's like, "What happened here?" And like, "Did you need that to get match my compensation?" They're like, "No, it just fit with your experience level." And I think it's interesting. Like I worked, his job level is where I peaked, right? So he's like turning down and dodging what I strived so hard for. And I find that interesting. Like he just like they hoist it upon him. And
Must be a smart dude.
yeah, he's pretty smart. All my parafriends are really, I think I might be the dumbest one. They're really smart. So yeah, no, it's kind of I just found I was laying it out there. Another one just took a sabbatical. Is sabbatical just vacation? I don't know how that works exactly. Is it paid?
I think it's just vacation, right?
But it was longish, like months. And I was joking because he took to it really well. Like, it turns out not working is one of his core competencies, and he's just really loving it. He has a big beard now. Like, it's 2 months into his sabbatical.
Long-term paid leave.
Okay.
To a university teacher or worker for study or travel. That's dope.
Yeah, he's an electrical engineer, so I don't know if that changes the paid scenario at all. But they seem to really highly value him. And when he asked to just leave for a while, they're like, "Anything, just don't leave for good." So
I was talking to a friend of mine who's an electrical engineer just recently. He and his wife came over just last night and hung out for a while. And he was explaining like how everything he had to learn to become an electrical engineer, and now it's like, and now the job I have, I use maybe 4% of that over and over and over and over and over and over. And he's like, so something I do is they hire me to go to like the O'Hare airport, and they'll be like, the air conditioning here, the setting is on an incorrect loop. And so it's supposed to bounce between 69 and 71. But because it's not set right, it's going down to 67, and then it's turning on and going up to 82. And then it just mirrors back and forth and back and forth. And so I go there, I go and I rewire it, and that's it. And I was like, it's like that's all you do. Is like you get in there and like manage the AC and climate control system at like airports and huge like malls. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not that bad because we also learned how to work with high voltage. And ever since we had the day lesson where you always work with it like this, so that if it goes into your arms, it blows out your elbow instead of, because apparently you never work on electronics like this because it'll go to your heart and kill you if there's a misfire. Always go like this. So your just elbows are destroyed and ruined forever, but you're alive. And I was like, yeah, man, after you added that last little addendum to the potential danger here, you're probably pretty stoked on it. He's like, oh yeah, it's a pretty good gig for sure. Easy as shit, but man, boring.
My friend, he designs solar energy fields. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so every so often we fly over them, and he's like, "What is that?" Like I designed that one, and now 3 of the panels are like flipped over, and one's in the shade. And he takes a picture, and he's like, "I'll let people know this thing is not at full efficiency." And I think it's just funny that he uses his paramotor to inspect his solar fields.
That's a funny little way that he can be like, "Guys, I have to. You have to pay me to do this thing that I just, through sheer happenstance, is my favorite hobby." Yeah, but you had a beer in your hand, Ted, and a baseball cap on, and there's a TV set up there. Yeah, I need to be. It's a stressful situation.
Yeah, they're really smart. The other one owns his own business, which is cool too.
That's neat.
Yeah, he keeps saying he's going to retire, but for the period I've known him, his retire date hasn't gotten any closer. So now I'm just calling bullshit on him. Like, you need to talk to this guy who took the sabbatical. He's good at not working.
Is he like retirement age, or just like a wealthy guy who wants to get out of there?
In between. I don't know how old he is, but I'll call him 52.
And, okay, so that'd be an early retirement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's super successful. He can do whatever he wants. He just needs to. I think I'm painting this on him. I suspect he gets satisfaction and accomplishment, and likes running his business, and but he also would like to have his own time, and you have to pick one, and you can't undo it very easily. So
yeah,
that's
a lot of entrepreneurial people seem like that, where they'll be like, I'm just going to get in, make my money that I need for life, and then get out, and then it like if they get out, they get depressed as shit. Or they die. Like, how many men die like 3 years after retiring because they're like, I don't know what to do. Right? I'm just so bored all day, every day. I can't. I'm too old to get really into mountain climbing or any hobby that would take me around the world.
It's interesting to like. So Elon Musk, I can get on board with because his job looks like fun. He's just like, you know what? Maybe we should sell some flamethrowers and invent the electric car. And go to space. Like, I think that's going to be my gig. When Elon Musk made PayPal, I imagine that was a job, right? It's computers and finance and interest and trust and dealing with chargebacks and bullshit or whatever PayPal does. Seems like work. But then he moved from that to just large-scale hobbies. So that I get. But there are a lot of people working who don't need money anymore. And when I say working, I mean doing shit that you'd think that isn't any fun. Like, and it's interesting to me that guys just keep plugging away at that for motivations that aren't financial. So what is your motivation to just like go from vice president to senior vice president at some bank when you could be doing anything?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know a guy, he's like mid 50s or so. He had like a he talks about how he hated his career started. He was in finance, like managing city budgets, like in the St. Louis area. Like, so we'd go to one of the suburbs here and then eventually the city and like work on managing the budget. And he's like, I wanted to retire as soon as possible because I hated it. It was miserable. And what I didn't realize until I left and went to the private sector instead of the government is in the government, you got 20% of the people there working their fucking asses off to get 100% of the work done. And I was one of those 20% because when my boss or my manager or whoever, my department head would give me something to do, there was no thought in my mind of like, I'm just fucking nah. Like I didn't know that was an option, but apparently 80% of people do that. And then I moved into the private sector where it's closer to like 80% of the people doing 100% of the work. And suddenly I felt like I could delegate and I had a little more freedom. And then I got kind of addicted to the going up the rungs at this bank and doing that kind of stuff. And it made kind of sense to me where it was like, okay, like now you feel like you're going to get a tangible reward for being promoted. Whereas before when you were working for St. Louis City or whatever, if they were like, all right, you're moving up to the next rung, it was more of a, how many more people's jobs are now assimilated into mine, like that I now have to manage. And that kind of made me think like it's probably just the job you choose that you get into just as much as your own drive.
When you work for yourself, and that's what I'm calling like YouTube and Woodycraft and such, it was another interesting thing because it seemed like 100% of my efforts went towards my own reward.
Yeah.
Right. You know, those efforts might be non-work things like interacting on Twitter, something I don't do much anymore, and or you know, YouTube comments or what have you. Like all your work furthered your goals, and it created this like cycle where you just work more and more and more until eventually all you do is work, you know. But work, if you like professionally, they kind of throttle you back. If you work 20 hours a day, someone would probably talk to you and say, Taylor, you know, we want you to be good in 2022, not just this year. But when you do it, when you're on your own, like no one talks to you. They just love it. You know, they just, more Taylor. You know, I like that he's answers every single letter that everyone sends him always. And there's no downside to it until you burn out, which is why every YouTuber hits like 1 million subs and like, guys, all this time I've been secretly depressed. This is the worst ever. I'm taking
guys, I got into YouTube because I didn't have any friends, and it turns out working 18 hours a day, I still don't have any goddamn friends.
It's cliche now, but it was new territory back when you know, when I was new. Interesting. A work PKN.
Yeah. People see, this wouldn't have flown, guys, with Kyle here. He would have got bored and wanted to talk about something else. So, and we're halfway through PKNs without Kyle.
Is that right? This is 4 out of 8?
This will be the 4th PKA we've done without him. It is hilarious how quickly this prison sentence is going by for us.
I'm shortening it because he mentioned there was a real possibility that he doesn't have to serve all 8 weeks or 2 months, whatever it is. And this whole way, I've just assumed it wouldn't be bad. I assumed he'd get no jail time. I figured they'd forgiven him along the way.
Same boat.
Like, you're still mad about that? I've said that before. And now when he said, we go to a halfway house, so there's a chance I might have to go to prison, I was like, well, definitely halfway house. No, it turns out not. And when he said I might not have to do the whole 8 weeks, I figured, well, then he'll surely not have to do the whole 8 weeks, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's in high spirits.
Yes.
I'm sure he is. I guarantee his big complaint is going to be boredom. Like, he's so used to the highest stimulation style of life ever, where it's this show, to this movie, to video games, whenever I want, this, that. Like, go into books. He's probably like, oh my God.
Taylor, are you aware of the fact that there's commercials on TV every 10 minutes? Yeah, Kyle, I'm acutely aware of that.
I got really into The View. It was the only thing on. Believe it or not, I hate all of them. They're the worst.
Call it a wrap?
Yeah, sure.
PKN 263.